Welcome to Muslim Apologetics Australia. In this video, we're going to discuss coronavirus and Islamophobia and some of the things that have been happening in the media in relation to this crisis and show the hypocrisy and the double standards of these Islamophobes. There are certain media networks out there who are blaming Muslims living in the West for not adhering to self-isolation rules to prevent against the spread of coronavirus. As you can see here, published by 7 News, a Melbourne couple celebrates wedding despite social gathering rules. Some of these Western papers have even portrayed Muslims in intentionally playing part in spreading this virus, picking out isolated cases, though the reports suggest mental health issues. The case that we're talking about is the coronavirus scare for police officer after a woman allegedly spat and coughed on him during an arrest. So this is a Muslim hijabi. She gets disgruntled for getting pulled over. She's obviously going over the speed limit and she gets arrested. She's annoyed by this and she basically starts spitting the dummy. And of course, we don't condone her behavior. And interestingly too, we don't really get to see what happens before the arrest. Was the officer actually abusing his powers? We don't really know that. So we only have a short clip showing her getting arrested. But what happens is she goes to spit on the police officer in the video. And of course, in the times that we're living in, we're trying to keep ourselves isolated, protect ourselves from COVID-19. She says that she's getting tested for COVID-19. So in frustration, she spits on the officer, and that's obviously abhorrent, and we condemn that sort of behavior. And in the actual video itself, it shows how she hits her head against the window. She smacks it in a very violent way. And I'll put the hyperlink below this here and you can see it for yourself. And that to me suggests that her mental health is not well. And so she will undergo a mental evaluation, even according to the Western papers. It says, however, she has since been released on bail and will undergo a mental health assessment. So she will reappear in court in June to hear her case. Now, what was disturbing is if you go to the comment sections and see what Islamophobes or Westerners say in reference to this, it is really racially or anti-Islamically motivated. And so people are now coming up with references such as, she's trying to spread coronavirus. It's basically some sort of conspiracy of jihad. And that's what was pretty disturbing, that this woman was spitting on the police officer in order to spread the virus, to say, oh, look, this is part of Islam. They're now using coronavirus and they're trying to weaponize it. Which was pretty disturbing because the lady hasn't been to court yet to get her mental evaluation process put forward. And yet they're making judgments such as, oh, look at these Middle Easterners, they're not respecting our laws. They're coming here. They're trying to spread coronavirus. They're disrespecting the law. This is un-Australian behaviour. This woman should be deported. And of course, we're having other cases like a Pakistani group of men playing cricket while they got arrested. And again, the white nationalists are coming out and saying they're disrespecting our laws. They're coming here. They're not adhering to the rules and regulations surrounding COVID-19. These Muslims have got no regard for our law, and they're just breaking our rules and they're They're spreading coronavirus. And to the extent, now they're coming out with even terms like Jihad virus or Corona Jihad. Though not even terrorist groups like ISIS encourage its members to travel to Europe because of the coronavirus, so much for their claim of some sort of mythical idea that Muslim jihadists are out there trying to infect non-Muslims under the motto Jihad virus. If Jihad virus really did exist, then the first people to encourage its spread would be ISIS followers. They would be telling all their Muslim followers to go around infecting all the non-Muslims. Yet we don't see this in any of the jihad material online. Rather, the latest reports suggest that ISIS members encourage their own members not to travel abroad. That's according to Fox News. Though Al-Qaeda or ISIS praise the coronavirus being a decree punishment from God on the unbelievers, they don't, however, preach to physically infect non-Muslims themselves. The truth is, it's the same scenario. The West likes to play the blame game and makes them feel good to blame a minority group within Australia or individuals within Australia by shifting blame by their own political leaders or from their own white superior culture, and instead like to blame these individual grouped up Muslims. Let me point out to you that there are rule breakers on all sides of the spectrum. Not too long ago, Westerners were still gathering together at pubs and on beaches where the government had to raise the stage 1 and 2 restrictions to stage 3. As you can see here, Australian beaches closed after hundreds gathered in defiance of the social distancing rule. And then there was this case, and I didn't want to show the pictures because they're a bit inappropriate, but it's according to the Daily Mail UK, it says, police catch British, US and Australian tourists at drug-fueled party amid coronavirus lockdown. And guess where these Australian and British and US tourists were partying? They were in Phuket, Thailand. So despite that country having, again, strict rules against COVID-19, these Australians, British and the US tourists didn't care much. So where are the Islamophobes to comment here to say, oh, look, Muslims are coming here, or people who look Middle Eastern are coming to Australia, breaking our rules and our regulations and spreading coronavirus and not adhering strictly to our laws. Yet you have Australian, British and US citizens going to Thailand and not respecting the law of the land despite COVID-19 and partying in groups, avoiding and ignoring the warnings. Where are these Islamophobes to comment on the actions of these white tourists? Well, have a look at the comments. Michelle Biddle says, looks like just a pool party to me. End of the world party, want to die happy, Marco says. Rebecca says, oh, well, good for them. Sorry, but it's onwards and upwards now. And so you just see, you're not seeing these comments saying, oh, they're not respecting the law of the land. It's not right for them to do that in a country like Thailand. They're disrespecting the law. They're going against their culture. These white people are coming here and, they're not respecting the law of Thailand. That, they should be deported back to Australia. You don't see those comments here. So it seems to me that there's one standard for Middle Easterners or Muslim-looking people in Australia for breaking the rules, and there's like another standard for white people, foreigners going to other countries, disrespecting their laws and not adhering to the COVID-19 rules and regulations. You know, when white people are gathered in beaches and not adhering to the rules and gathering at pubs, none of the white racists came out and said, all these white people need to be deported out of Australia. They're all un-Australian, back to the motherland. This is a culture going wrong. No, when white people do it, it's okay. Let's just throw it under the carpet, and let's just continue with our lives. Let's just say that these people are just acting not according to Australian law, and we'll just we won't talk about their white race. We won't talk about how these people are just evil. Embedded within them, like you'd say to a Muslim, oh, look, these Muslims are just evil people. It's innate within them. They just can't follow the law because that's just the type of people they are. But, when it comes to white people breaking laws, it's, oh, yeah, it's just a few folks on the beach. Yeah, look, just come on, let's just follow the law. There's nothing really said nasty about them, but when it becomes Muslim, it's look at these people. These people are like animals. They're just not following the law, and the insults and the slanders and oh look, it must be their religion. That's what it is. But when it comes to white people, we don't even discuss, their Christian heritage or their atheist heritage. Oh, it must be Islam. It must be their religion. Their religion is guilty. These people are like this because of their religion. And of course, Western media feels this. It's really interesting because when I actually saw the video of that actual Muslim woman in a hijab spitting at the police officer, trying to say that she had COVID-19 or whatever, while I was doing some search online, I actually came across a Western woman in America doing something which is just as abhorrent, if not even worse. Well, this white woman, she was found coughing and spitting on fruits and vegetables at a supermarket, and she was claiming she had COVID-19, and she made terrorist slogans. I'll put a hyperlink below again, and the article can be found here. And so that's the lady there. She's basically arrested. It's reported by the NBC, and you can read the article here. She's being arrested, $35,000 damage to fruits and vegetables, and she was making terroristic and political statements that she basically wanted to make a statement, and she obviously wanted coronavirus to spread. She's a white lady. Did any of the Islamophobes talk about her Christian heritage or her white heritage? Did they speak, it must be her religion? Did they speak about that? No. How about this one? Another incident. Man planning to bomb Missouri hospital killed people. He was killed. He was planning to bomb the hospital, and he was actually shot and killed by the FBI. He was from Missouri, and the suspect's name was Timothy R. Wilson. He planned a terrorist attack in a hospital because the staff were treating COVID-19 patients. He wanted to kill the doctors because he wanted the coronavirus to spread. So again, did any of these Islamophobes out there talk about these white rule breakers to be from Christian heritage, and it's because of their religion they are breakers? Did they blame white heritage? Did they blame white supremacy? And I'm from Australia, right? I didn't even hear about that news coming from America. I never even knew white people were doing that in America, right? And I thought to myself, look how amazing and manipulative the media are. The only way I had that news was if I looked at what Muslims were doing in Australia and some of those cases. And as I was searching, I just came across some of the events and some of the things that white people were doing in America. In other words, it wasn't coming up on my Facebook, on my news feed, oh, look, this is what this terrorist done in America, or what this white person done by spitting on food and vegetables. No, That was like hidden news, right? I had to do several Google searches to get to that news. And that goes to show how the media highlights and publishes as many articles as possible so it comes up on your newsfeed when it's about Muslims, but when it's about the West, you got to go through several pages and research to actually find some of the atrocities that white people are doing. Let me tell you that vast majority of Muslims adhere to the rules surrounding COVID-19. In fact, if we look at the geographic spread of the coronavirus, the biggest spreaders of this virus happens to be from Western cultures. And the irony is that the biggest spreaders come from developed countries and not the developing countries, which are the Muslim ones, where you would expect the virus would be the front line epicenter. But it's not. You know why? Because Muslims for centuries have been raised in a culture where washing yourself 5 times a day and exercising segregation, covering the face, shortening the length of one's nails, not to shake hands, especially of the opposite sex, is not prescribed by their religion when in reference to shaking their hands. When it comes to cutting nails and segregation, washing yourself 5 times a day, these are prescribed by Islam. So Islamic critics, instead of criticizing these Muslims, should instead thank the Muslim general public in playing a major role in containing the spread of this virus and for being part of a religion that holds hygiene at one of its most important principles. So before you want to go spread your Islamophobic agenda by looking at these isolated cases, for every isolated case you bring where a Muslim is committing the wrong action, I can bring you 5 more cases of where a white person, a non-Muslim in particular, is breaking the rules. So put your anti-Islamic behavior to the side and be honest in your evaluation. Who are the real spreaders of this virus? I'll let the statistics decide that for themselves.